That project down at K96 in Oliver, I thought, man, we've got an exciting model for apartments. We do these beautiful apartments that are upper income stuff, fancy stuff, really neat. But I realized I was just creating more of the same. I wasn't really solving any problems. And around that time, Matt Jordan, who's been a friend of mine for many years, started introducing me to city managers and other folks in rural communities, and opening my eyes to the fact that these smaller towns had a desperate need for quality housing. And so about a year ago, with about a dozen projects with approximately $160 million in total value in 4 different cities, including Wichita, Kansas City, Topeka, Tulsa, I shut down our high-end apartment initiatives and said, we're going to solve the problem. We're going to solve the problem of rural communities needing housing. And so I went to work with my staff over the last year, learning about and looking at a bunch of different concepts for apartment development. And about a month and a half ago, we finished a prototype which will work in any market, any rural community. And I say work, the reason people don't build apartments in rural communities is because the rent rates are 20-30% lower, construction costs are 20% higher. And so right out of the gate, you've got a big challenge compared to these bigger markets. So people in Wichita, there's local developers, regional developers, national developers that'll come and do apartment projects one at a time. These small towns, they haven't had anything built for the last 30 years. And what has been built has been low-income housing, subsidized properties. And one mandate that I have for myself and my company and all the companies that we start is that we will not ask for government subsidies to make our projects work. Our government has enough problems. We have enough debt. We have enough challenges we're going to have to face as a country in terms of getting financially in a good and solid place. The last thing we need are more business folks and developers coming and saying, you need to give me money if you want me to help solve your problems in your community. What needs to happen is more public-private partnerships that figure out how to solve problems. Private business doing its part, building the financial models based upon their own merits, and working with local communities only to the extent that the local communities provide the guidance to say, here's what we need. We'll make the introductions. We'll help you figure out what needs to go where, but we need you to step up as private industry to figure out the models. And that's what we did with the rural rental housing model. And our model is such a great model that I was introduced recently to the director for Kansas of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture has an incredible stake in these rural communities, and so they have housing initiatives, and they're very focused on figuring out how to make sure that the housing supply in these communities creates a good availability for growing the workforce and providing for the people that are already there. And when the director for Kansas of the U.S. Department of Agriculture heard about our prototype, she that same day got on the phone and organized a statewide conference at the Kansas Leadership Center for rural community leaders to come here in December, not just to talk about our model, but to talk about real solutions for rural communities, but also to see our model and to see how we've been able to solve that problem. And that's what we're really hard at work on. I'm telling you all that because once we had this rural model, because of the lower income and the higher cost, I sat down one day and I said to myself, I need to figure out where our break-even point is. How low can our rents go before we risk losing money, before we get into financial trouble? So, as I often do, I opened up an Excel spreadsheet and started plugging in numbers, and I figured out that in our one-bedroom apartments, a single parent earning only $7.25 an hour and working 40 hours a week could afford our apartment and spend only 30% of their income, and we would not lose money. I figured out that a couple working a combined 60 hours a week and earning only $7.25 a piece minimum wage could only spend a third of their income and afford our 2-bedroom apartment. Then I realized I've got a low-income housing